love it when the machine comes back to life.
Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. You are looking at a kind of special all-terrain vehicle here. So if you look at the tag, you can see it is an ATC 200 1983 vintage. But what makes it special is not that, it's this. Kind of a real timepiece. U-Haul used to rent this critter out back in the day. So a while ago, I managed to kind of get it running, and that's where I stopped with it. And what I'd like to do today is bring it back to life, try to get a ride out of it, see what's going on, maybe make a few decisions. Obviously, I'm not going to part it out, but I just want to see what it really needs to bring it back to some of its former glory. I mean, it was ridden. Pieces kind of snapped off here and there. But generally speaking, considering its age, right, we're pushing 40 on this thing, right? It's really in pretty nice shape. Hopefully from sitting around, I didn't lose the motor. Oh, good. Sounds like it's still alive. So anyway, let's see what it takes to bring this thing back to life. Given that we have a little bit of compression, hopefully, or plenty of compression, hopefully this isn't too bad. Looks like it can use some oil. So we'll top that up. The carburetor looks like I did a swap to a clone. We'll pull that off and clean it. It looks like it might have been running on its OEM ignition system. And quite honestly, all the wiring looks like it's intact. So we'll see if it has spark. Anyway, let's get started with the carburetor. I always like looking in the trunk to see what people have left behind for me. Sometimes they leave me mice. So I bought this at the Rhinebeck car show, and considering that they canceled the last two, we're coming up on, I guess I've owned this thing like 3-4 years now, and I don't think I've had it running in at least 2. So the carburetor definitely needs to come off, and that's easy enough, right? You spin out the throttle slide. The exhaust system's off. Means I'm going to get a little Karen action when I ride it for my neighbor. And right, you oh, that ain't good. I think people have mixed 7/16. I mean, I probably did the carburetor swapped. I must have just put the old hardware back on. Okay, hopefully you guys could see the carburetor right here. I got a lecture from one of my subscribers about clone carburetors being as good as the OEM stuff, and nowadays with the newer OEM stuff, I'm not sure if that's made in China now, and so the newer stuff has the same problems these clones have. What I find with the clone carburetor, they don't finish them as well. Like this bowl here, I don't know if they use inferior metal or if they don't polish it up quite as good, but I seem to find corrosion in there quicker. Around me in New York, they put alcohol on the gas, right? We use that grain alcohol in the gas. And unfortunately, it leads to this kind of stuff. Hopefully I'm showing it to you. Right, as you look in there, that brown nasty on the bottom. And that stuff is crazy sticky. So if you get enough of it in there, it'll stick the float to whatever position it's in, right? Open or closed. So that's my annoyance. I also seem to find a lot of times not only that brown stuff, but the white powdery stuff. Anyway, that could only be scraped out of there. I've tried most solvents and it doesn't, nothing really seems to cut it, right? Carburetor cleaner, brake clean, gasoline, obviously. You kind of let it get hard and just kind of scrape it out. Hopefully the rest of the carb is not in too bad a shape, right? The float's moving. So we'll get that taken apart and see what's going on inside. So the bowl actually cleaned up real nice. That's a real good thing, obviously. So, right, let's take a look. So this is kind of the high-speed jet. Let's see if those holes are plugged up. Oh no, I'm seeing some daylight. Hopefully you guys are too. So that's a good thing. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see down the center. So this is the high-speed jet. And we'll pull that out and that out. And that's the idle circuitry. So let me get those loose and see what they look like. So if one put gas to this thing, it would definitely not idle, right? If you look down the barrel here, right, there's no daylight, a little bit on the sides, but nothing down the center. So this would be a non-idling carburetor. I'm going to take the idle out also. Remember, you count how many turns it was. You tighten it in. Typically, it's 1.5, 1.25 turns in. And then you take it out. Then when you put it back in, you spin it back out that 1.25. Remember when you pull this out not to lose the spring. And typically, there's a gasket washer, whatever you want to call it. Try not to lose that either. Now when it comes to cleaning these out, I don't know, could you see this is just a wire? I spin a couple of the fibers, strands together, and then just run it through and make sure, you know, you spin it and clean it. And, you know, same for all these little jets. Some of you guys recommend using torch cleaner, and I have those also, but it seems that the metal tips, the metal wires, cleaning files, let's call them, in a torch cleaner have a tendency to make the holes a little bigger. Then they don't quite run as well. So if you do use that, try not to file your holes bigger, right? These jets are set up to a certain size, and I find that the copper wire keeps them that size. So anyway, you clean out the center, and this is the idle one, and all these little ones on the side so that you could see light, and you do that for the main jet also. Gotta try to stay within the camera boundaries. Alright, a few things. I use a Q-tip and some solvent, and with that you guys could see you can clean out where the fuel comes in, the fuel shut-off valve, right? Make sure you don't get any fibers in there. Then when you run your solvent through, right, you'll make sure the fibers blow through. I already cleaned the jets and I showed you that. Now for these ports, I just run solvent through them, and then you make sure that you see, as you look down the throat of the carburetor, the solvent bubbling through all those holes. I also try to catch the solvent before it lands on the ground, obviously. You know, you kind of catch it in a rag and then let it evaporate, right? You don't need to be getting solvent into the groundwater and drinking it. Okay, I'm just going to reassemble it. Not difficult, same as taking it apart, except make sure you don't lose the parts and get everything back where it belongs. Okay, here we go. I put oil on it, obviously. I've rebuilt the carburetor. I kind of installed the muffler, right? It's kind of baling wire installed, but that's done, right? We have a gas tank on it. So if it sparks, it'll start right up. And if it doesn't spark, I'll have to go get my portable CDI. So let me set up the camera and see what this puppy's going to do. All right, here we go. Choke, string, throttle. She's on. Let's go. I'll take it. That's not smoke. That's just a smoke signal announcing that this thing is still alive. Actually, the smoke isn't bad considering how long it's been sitting. Anyway, I'm gonna go get the GoPro, and why don't we try to get a little ride out of this thing, see how alive it really is. Okay, she's running. I adjusted the idle. I got my carpet sweatshirt seat on here. I didn't want to go through the trouble of digging out the real seat. So let's see how she does. It should be down. It's old enough. Motor sounds pretty good. I got a square on the tire. I don't know if you guys can feel the thud. The muffler should stay on there. Still sending out a lot of smoke signals announcing it's alive.
well. I think you guys can really feel that thud now. Yeah, the automatic clutch works good. No complaints there. For a machine that hasn't been out in a few years, she's actually doing pretty good. Probably should have put air in that tire at the back. The ground is very, it's kind of frozen underneath, and then where it's defrosted, it's like slimy. So, it's kind of easy to tear things up. Yeah, I really should have put air in that back tire. It's got that feeling like it wants to tuck and roll. Yeah, I'm also getting some, smoke. I don't know if you guys can kind of see it as I come around the corner and head toward the front, right? You guys can see some smoke. So the engine might have to break in a little. I love it when the machine comes back to life. Mud passage down here, a little bit of ice. You know, no matter how much you cut these trails back, trees from further and further back like lean out and smack you in the face. I'm about to be walking. Just drove through Calvin's Corners. Going to move up here for the time being, even if I have to put a golf cart roof over it. Yep, I am like out of fuel. I'm just going to let the engine run until she stalls out. It actually runs quite well. I mean, it smokes, but that's not a crazy amount. I think she's okay. It'll probably break in a little more. I also filled the oil. I didn't change it. So God knows what swill is in there. All right, tubers. I want to thank y'all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed bringing the U-Haul back to life. It's always cool when one of these machines come back, you know, rather than lying dead somewhere. It's always nice to see them back. I need y'all to keep your feet down, your heads up, and I want you to get out there and enjoy each and every day. You don't know how many you're going to get, so make sure you have some fun. Trust me on this one. Take care now, folks. Bye.